Fancy footwork that makes horse and rider look like a well-drilled team. In fact, Jayne Craike has had her horse Robert De Niro less than a month. He's been trained by Dutch speakers, and he's never had an amputee rider on his back before.
I liked his personality. He's a really sweet guy. So, yeah, the main thing is that we clicked it, a little bit clicked as I tried him, and then I tried him again, and as you can see, all he likes to do you mind? All he likes to do is suck everything. All he do is only want to do that.
Now he's got to perform for her in the World Para Dressage Championships in Gloucester. Jayne went to Holland to buy him because it's famous for breeding top dressage horses.
It's been quite stressful, knowing that you have to buy something, number one, otherwise you have no horse to ride, but also wanting to buy the right one, not wanting to make a mistake.
Jayne won gold at the Sydney Paralympics in 2000. She came fourth in Athens in 2004. As she warms up for her third event here in England, she's trying to get him in sync with her commands.
Now we're going to New Zealand. It's Jayne Craike, rider who competed in the last 3 Paralympics, including also 2 World Championships, and competes at Grand Prix level.
They have to score well to qualify for a place at the Paralympics in Beijing.
But I started riding at 5 years old and then started show jumping. At the age of 17, I had a horse riding accident where the horse flipped over backwards and landed on top of me in a cobblestone yard and made quite a mess of my bones and my leg, and I ended up in hospital for a very long time. I had infection and osteomyelitis, and in 1992 they removed the leg in New Zealand. Because I had ridden at a high level in show jumping, I didn't want to go back to being a beginner. That was very difficult for me because I'm so competitive. So I decided not to ride.
But that didn't last long.
There was a little pony club down the road, and they heard about my experience and said, could I please come and teach? And as soon as I got there and started teaching, you know, up came the old desire again. Eventually they got me on the horse and away I went.
Riding with a prosthesis is an ongoing challenge. Jayne injured her stump in the lead up to this competition.
It's been very difficult and very painful just to keep the leg on for a period of time so that I can train and compete. And also in the cold the muscles shrink, so it gets a bit loose, and sometimes that's interesting when you're riding too. I have had my leg fall off a few times, but thankfully not in a competition. For me, dressage is about a unison, a partnership between your horse and yourself, and the judges, when you are in a competition, are looking for that unison. They're looking for a partnership where the aids or the commands that you give a horse is almost invisible, so that you're almost thinking the same thing at the same time. That's the appearance that you want to give, that everything is effortless.
When in fact it's not. Robert De Niro has to get used to the hard surface of Jayne's artificial limb.
The major difference is the leg doesn't wrap around the horse the same way, so it gives the horse a different feeling. It'd be a little bit like leaning against a sponge on your good leg and leaning against a hard wall on your bad leg. It's very difficult then to persuade them that the aids that you give on either side of their belly means go straight.
Completing then 4 New Zealanders, Jayne Craike and Robert De Niro.
A few little mistakes. He's learning English and I'm learning Dutch, so it's been a sort of up and down with a few things, but he's getting better. So a lot of people that are over here are continually competing and have a history of competition as a combination. And because we're a new combination, it's hard to know how we'll score. The hard part of riding is taking the boots off after. It's not always easy. You feel when you ride a test in a situation of pressure you feel every little thing that goes wrong, any little thing that's not quite right, you think it's a disaster, you know. Okay, that's it, I've got a terrible score. I would be happy with over 65%, I think, you know, considering we don't know each other that well. I mean, obviously I'd want more.
Jayne, your score hasn't gone up yet, but I sneaked into the scorers and asked them for it at 67.677.
All right, it's not too bad.
No, not too bad at all.
Thank you.
I don't know how it compares with all the others yet, though.
There you go, mate. 67. Not bad.
It takes a little bit of time to get used to a new horse, and they've had a few teething problems, but things are really on the up and up, and I think she's done really quite well.
There you go, matey. You deserve it. And he doesn't like the oats, so he picks all the pellets out first, and then he eats the oats.
The other 35 competitors in Jayne's section are finished, and the placings are out. She came 14th in today's freestyle event and 10th in the whole competition. Luckily, Jayne's scores are high enough to qualify for Beijing.
I'm happy on one aspect of the fact that I know that I do have a good horse, and I'm a little bit disappointed with the actual results because, of course, you always, if you're a competitor, you want to achieve, and I want to achieve gold, silver, bronze. You know, I don't want to achieve 10th or 12th but having said that, I have to look at all the positive points. I'll make myself look at that and look to the future, which is Beijing. And I think that we're going to be a good team, and I think a little bit more time together, a little bit more understanding of each other and more experience at competition.
Spark funding is tagged to performance, and today's placing, lower than she hoped, will mean much less money.
It's going to cost us 28,000 New Zealand dollars to get the horse home. That's just one way, and that includes your quarantine stay as well. So, yeah, just adding his flight fare with my flight fare, you know, creates quite a problem for my bank manager.
Money worries aside, the trip's been worthwhile. Now that she's qualified for Beijing, Jayne's focused on working even harder to gain selection for the Paralympic team.
Now I have a better idea what the standard of the world is, you know, because I didn't know before coming into this competition how much they had improved, you know, my fellow competitors, and how much more I needed to up my own game. So it's really good to know from that point of view that I'm not that far away from a gold medal.